Okay. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Whitney. I am with Buckman Best Behaviors. Primarily do dogs, but I do actually pet train all animals. So I actually am working with a few varieties right now. And we do this every fourth Wednesday. We take anybody's questions and we answer them. I do this from 8 o'clock till 9 o'clock. So let me know what you're wondering. If there's any questions you have, go ahead and let me know on that. And I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have right now. So go ahead and just go ahead and put your questions into the chat. It can be about anything. It can be dog training. It can be, question about animal behavior that you've seen. I've been working in the field for multiple decades, so I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. So go ahead and put those into the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them. As far as I can definitely tell right now that the COVID puppies have reached adolescence. A lot of people got puppies this past year, and now is the time that they basically are starting to turn around that teenage phase, and the teenage phase is not fun for any species whatsoever. So I've been guiding a lot of families through that phase of the puppy life. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Even if you just want to say hi, go ahead and put it into the chat, and I'll be happy to say hi, answer any questions you have about any behaviors that you are curious about, or if you have questions on training or anything like that, I'd be happy to ask. My travels have been increasing quite a bit. I guess word is getting out about my existence, and people have been booking up quite a bit. So I definitely would suggest everyone to, if you need it sooner, get it in sooner. I'm starting to have to book out multiple weeks for first sessions. So I definitely suggest getting that in. Looks like we don't have anybody on right now, but just let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. I'd be happy to answer them. Looks like it's going to be a quiet night. Oh, looks like somebody's popped in. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. Or if you have any, if you just want to say hi, I'd be happy to do that. Any questions about pet training, pet behavior, or any animal training or behavior questions whatsoever, go ahead and put those into the chat, and I would be happy to answer them. I've just been talking about how we are getting pretty well booked up. So if anybody does need more stringent help, I would say give me a call ASAP. We are traveling quite a bit. I think I'm now in the car for at least 3 hours a day traveling to clients, because we do travel up to, I travel up to 150 miles from Garden City for training. There is, of course, a travel fee for that. Basically, I call it $1 a mile. Some call it 50 cents a mile. But basically, if you just Google how far your city is from Garden City, that's how many dollars it's going to be. So if it's 70 miles away, then it's $70. I don't double it or anything with the return fee. But if you have any questions whatsoever, go ahead and put those into the chat. Looks like it's going to be a quiet night. I hope everybody... One thing that I like to think about sometimes also is that a lot of people tend to forget about until it comes up, which is the training your pets for emergencies. The other night we had a tornado watch, and I remember the first time that I realized most people do not train for that. I was actually in Georgia, and a fire alarm had gone off in the apartment complex that I lived in, and my cats, I got them into the kennels and had them out in a very short amount of time. And I knew multiple people had pets, and I was the only one with my pets with me, because just in case it was an actual fire. But training them to do that goes a long way. For small pets, I always suggest just getting them trained to go into their kennel so that you don't have to chase them all over the place. And then you can just pick up the kennel and go do what you need to do. Take them to the basement, whatever you need to do. That is something I can do. I was just working on kennel training today for a client, getting the pup ready to just willingly go into the kennel. And as I said, I did that with cats. Cats can be trained, contrary to some people's beliefs. It is actually very easy to train cats to kennel train. So if anybody has any questions, looks like it is going to be a slow night. I'm going to try to push till 9, but if I don't have anybody, then I might shut down early, but at this point in time, I'm going to go strong. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead, put those into the chat, and I'd be happy to answer them. All right. All right. Okay, so if anybody has any questions, go ahead. And now I've returned. Boom, 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 boom. If you have any questions, go ahead, put those into the chat, and I'll be happy to answer them. Trying to think of what we've been working on mostly with a lot of our clients this time around. Mostly it's been a lot of basics, a whole lot of puppies. It is definitely puppy season. So we're doing a whole lot of basics, trying to get them in functional order. Oh, it looks like we got our first question. Hello, Sarah. I have a German Shepherd puppy that is 14 weeks old and constantly biting. This is honestly the number one thing that I am probably working on right now. They're constantly biting, of course, because they are puppies. And that, so let's put that question up there. They are constantly biting, of course, because they are puppies and they want to play. And the only way that they can play is with their teeth. They don't have hands like we do, so they use their teeth to play. The primary thing that I do when trying to go through this is basically first act like you are in pain, because you will be, so that's not going to be the hard part. Just act like you're in pain when they bite. Just go, ow! Now try to avoid a higher pitch kind of squeal, because like, ow, or something like that. Usually the sounds that children have, that tends to excite them even more if it's the high pitched noise. So I would try your best to get say ow in just a very abrupt way and disengage whatever you're doing with the puppy. If you're playing with the puppy, disengage. Now the problem is, of course, when you're walking by, but we'll get into that here in a little bit. So basically you disengage because they want to play, and if you go away, then they can't play. Now the thing is, you can't just leave though. You have to get back to the puppy and bring an appropriate toy and show them that when they play appropriately, you will engage with them. Like usually I love anything that's a tug toy, because that puts a barrier between you and them. So play with them with tug toys, especially for puppies, because that's usually what they need. They want that little drive. In fact, I was teaching a client's puppy to fetch today, and also start associating with the toy so that they can ask for the toy, and then the puppy brings the toy rather than just trying to bite them and play with them that way. I want the puppy to associate with that toy, then bring it to the owner to engage in play. And then every time they bring you a toy, you need to engage with them, because that's what they want. And that's what that is an appropriate behavior for them to be doing. So, so as I said, just get a toy between you and them and let them play with that toy. They're going to be teething here pretty soon. In fact, the one that I was playing with today I laughed because I'm like, I could tell that a tooth was about to pop, and then we were yanking and going, and the puppy didn't notice, but pop, they went the tooth, a full good baby tooth came out. So get those toys involved. The other thing that I do is try to do alternate behaviors where they aren't constantly obsessed with you per se, so that they can go and play on their own. So, for example, I would have some type of training where they disengage from you, either to go someplace, such as what we call station training, where they go onto a location, such as a bed or a kennel. Then there's also a target training. So that way you can ask them to leave another thing. So let's say they're chewing and biting on somebody, or like a child or another dog, in which case you would target train them, which is getting them to touch their nose to, well, it can be any body part, but when I do target training, it's basically they touch their nose to a hand. I'll see if I can bring up a possible video of just to show what I mean by the target training. But by training them to do that, you can now ask them to leave a thing, like leave that person to that other older dog sometimes alone, so they can disengage. But then after you disengage them from something that they're not supposed to be chewing and biting on, you then re-engage them with an appropriate toy. So it would be something along the lines of, oh, sorry, it's getting bleeded out by blue light, I'm noticing. So I'm trying to turn it off if I can. We'll see. There we go. So anyway, where was I? Oh, so you once you target them away from something, then you want to re-engage them with something else, usually that toy, and that goes a long way. Now, it's not going to be an overnight process, so keep that in mind. Just they need to learn slowly, or I shouldn't say need to, but they will be learning slowly, because it is a brain, and they are basically toddlers with very sharp teeth going on there. So, yeah, keep that in mind. And here is an example of the target behavior. Let's see here, bringing that up. Bringing this up, maybe. All right. All right, come on. All righty, so here we go. All right, so the target behavior would look something like this. Let's see if I can get this onto the screen fairly easily. There we go. All right, here we go. So this would be the target behavior that I was kind of talking about. And we will do
perfect.
This.
Okay, and I'm guessing target still works just fine.
So this pup is going to go touch its nose to their hand, and with this pup, the behavior was very strong. So we were able to use that on walks and on other things to get the dog to disengage from something. So I will use that behavior to get them to disengage from biting somebody, and then immediately give them an appropriate chew toy. But usually one of the problems that a lot of people have is they just kind of give them a bone, and that is not engaging, because the reason that the puppy is playing with you is because they want to engage with you. They want to play. They want that interaction. So if you just throw them something to chew on, that's not going to cut it. Usually that's why I get the tug toy, and we start kind of going back and forth, getting a little excited by the play. Let me know if that answered your question, Sarah. If you have any other questions, go ahead, put them into the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. And if you just want to say hi, go ahead and say hi. I'm here till 9 o'clock. And hoping, crossing our fingers, that the bad weather doesn't hit us here in Garden. Earlier, I was saying that I've been actually traveling quite a bit lately. Most of my clients have been actually out of town. I'd say at least half now. Excellent. I'm glad that helps, Sarah. Excellent. A lot of my clients are out of town. I do travel up to 150 miles, and I've been actually putting at least 3, if not more, hours in the car just going to and from clients, trying to get these positive reinforcement trainings going. Having lots of success, but right now it is very tiring for a lot of people because it is puppy season, man. Not doing. Sometimes I go through phases where I deal with a lot of aggression clients because I do work with aggression and anxiety issues with dogs. But right now, really a lot of basic puppy issues. Doorbell training so that they can, or some type of bell system training so that they can alert their owners that they are, in fact, needing to go outside. So a lot of that, a lot of just basic potty training, a lot of what to expect as they age. Today's was actually a nice one. He's very hyper, which is the problem that a lot are having, but he's also very intelligent. So we were actually, every time I've been there, we've been adding like 2 or 3 behaviors to his repertoire, such as kenneling and targeting and re-engaging. Today we were also working with give and a recall, all sorts of stuff that we were adding into that pup's repertoire so that we could get them up and running. So if you have any questions or anything, go ahead, put them into the chat. It can be about pet training. It can be about any animal behavior type stuff. Maybe you saw an interesting thing on the internet and want more clarification on it. I can answer that. I have many decades of experience working both in the zoological field and multiple decades of experience in the zoological field and in the the pet training field, or especially with dogs and things. I've been training dogs since 1992. No, before that. When was it? 1991, something. No, 91 or 92, somewhere in there is when I started training dogs in Bellevue, Nebraska. But the instructor I had then had a love for golden retrievers. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, put those into the chat. If you just want to say hi, let me know how you're going. Go ahead. If you saw a tornado, put that in the chat too. That'd be interesting because we are in a tornado. I think we're just in a watch right now, so we're doing pretty safe at this point in time. I did have that one of my earlier sessions this week did get interrupted by a storm kind of coming in, so that was fun. Trying to just get to safety as tornadoes were dropping all over southwest Kansas. But if anybody has any questions, go ahead, put those into the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. We had one question about puppy biting already, but feel free to put those questions in there. Let's see here. Okay. Seems to be a very quiet night, but that makes some sense with the weather and everything else going on. People are getting towards the end of the year, into the school year with the kiddos and such. And I am usually there in the summer months. We actually do get a bit busier because that's when people have more puppies and various other things going around. Now you can reach me if you do need more help. You can reach me at Whit Buchman, WHITBUCHMAN at bbbehaviors.com. You can also call me at 620-805-9429. You can also check out the website at bbbehaviors.com. But if anybody has any questions whatsoever, go ahead and put that into the chat, and we will be happy to answer those. We have a number of different things going on right now. Let's see here. Looks like it is a very quiet night. I will be on until 9 o'clock is the current plan. If we have a complete dead zone, I might cut it off early, but contrary to popular belief, I don't like hearing my own voice. But if anybody has any questions, go ahead and put those into the chat. I'd be happy to answer them for you. I'm doing a number of other side projects as well in the community. So, all right. I actually was tallying it up. I need to do a more official tally, but I think I might be up to 1,000 animals that I've worked with now. At least 1,000 animals that I've trained and helped in the community. One thing that's actually coming up now also is I have a number of therapy dogs that I'm working for with teachers. Basically, we and some other people as well. But basically, we figure out what kind of therapy work they want to do, which generally, if it's in a classroom, we know school is going to be at and all that. And then we assess it. Then we actually go through quite a bit because it's more than just the basic training. A little bit more advanced training is one thing that we'll do because, just because they need to be pretty much on point when they're in those locations. And then what it will do is once we hit the point and I know that they can do all the behaviors I want them to do, and also I also work with the teachers to come up with safety plans for emergencies. If there's a fire drill, etc., what do we do? How will we work the dog, and also working the dog through those types of alarms so that it's not the first time that they experience it. Maybe that might be a good idea for some of our therapy dogs this summer, because we don't want to necessarily run those drill sirens randomly during the school year and freak out all the kids out. But aside from the planned drills, of course, but we might try to desensitize some of those therapy dogs to those noises so that when it does happen, they'll be like, oh, okay, that noise is happening. We got to go through the thing again, because that's really the key, is just getting them repeatedly desensitized to the sound and also giving them something to do. When they know what to do, they're going to be a whole lot more comfortable with the situation. So, all right. Does anybody have any questions? If you have any questions, go ahead, put those into the chat, and I would be happy to answer them. Seems to be a very quiet night tonight. So, but once again, you can reach me at 620-805-9429 or Whit Buckman at bbbehaviors.com. I have been training for quite some time. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, put those into the chat. If you just want to say hi, go ahead and let me know. Let me know you're out there, that I'm not just talking into the void of the internet. So yes. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, put those in there. I would be happy to answer them. Love having direction on where to take the talk, see what's going on in people's minds. I know right now we have a ton of puppies everywhere. Puppies everywhere. So go ahead, put that into the chat. If anybody has any questions, I'd love to answer them for you. Uh-oh. That's why. Okay. Looks like we don't have any questions still. But as I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them into the chat. It doesn't have to just be about dogs. I do work with other animals. I've worked with cats, pigs. In the domestic world. In the zoo world, I've worked with a number of other species. I'm not even going to mention name. I'm not even going to go through all of them because, yeah, it's just it's a lot. But I've worked with all of them. So if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know, and I would be happy to discuss that. All right. Okay, it looks like we have a very quiet night. I think I'm the only two watching this right now. Hello, Internet Void. How are you tonight? You're in there. Let me know you're there. Especially if you have a question. I'd love to answer questions. That's what I'm here to do, to offer at least the basic advice for some people that might need it, that don't necessarily need the full training. Be happy to help. Share my expertise. Been doing this for way too many years now. Not really. I really enjoy that. That's actually why I picked this job. So, all right. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I would be happy to answer them. But please let me know that you are out there. Working in the world. Okay, this is an extremely quiet night. I don't think I've ever been on this quiet. We'll see. We'll see. If anybody comes into the chat, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Any questions whatsoever. Okay. Looks like it is super quiet tonight. I don't think I've never seen it this quiet before. All right. Looks like nobody's out there. Is there anybody out there? Do 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 do. Okay. All right, I might go take a quick little break and come right back. But if anybody has any questions, I will be happy to answer those. Just let me know. And so we can go from there. But it is extremely quiet tonight. Do. All right. Okay, I'll be right back. You all. Anybody has any questions, put those into the chat. I'll be happy to answer them. Best Behaviors is having a 25% off sale from now until the end of the year on all training sessions. Invoices must be paid by December 31st to receive this discount. These sessions can be used for animals in your own family, or they can be given. Not that one. That's the wrong one. Do, 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 do. I know what I'll do. So if anybody's watching out there and you have any questions or just want to say hi, go ahead, put it into the chat, and I will be happy to answer your questions. I'm going to step away for a minute, and I will be right back. Let's see here. Do. I can stick around. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Go ahead, put those in the chat. I'm just going to keep on talking until we get some questions or some interactions. But just let us know if you have anything you'd like to know. Okay, well, hello, everybody. Let me know how you're all doing. If you have any questions, go ahead, put those in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them regarding anything animal related or pet related. I would be gladly go over that with you. All right. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put those into the chat. I'd be happy to discuss that. If it's just going to be quiet, I might throw a few videos up and we can discuss those when I get back. But I'm going to put a quick little video in, maybe. Yeah, we'll put this in. Oh, failed to upload. Uh-oh. All right. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put that into the chat. I'd be happy to answer those. Looks like it is going to be a very quiet night. If it is this quiet for 10 more minutes, I will be probably call it a little early tonight if that's going to be the case. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead, put them into the chat, and I will be happy to answer them. All right. Anybody has any questions, please put your questions into the chat. Let me know you're out there. Looks like we are very quiet tonight. I have not seen it this quiet ever. Ah, that's what we'll do. Duh. Now I know. All right, I'm back, everyone. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. If you want to just say hi, let me know. I'll be answering any animal questions you have, whether it's pet related or wild animal. Doesn't matter. I've worked with both. I've worked in wildlife rehab. I've worked in the zoo field. I've worked with obviously domestic animals. I've been working my tail off lately. Definitely tell all those COVID puppies have become teenagers now. So getting all the booking in, definitely suggest if you need help, more immediate help, to get booked in as fast as possible. I'm starting to get booked out further and further. It's just getting harder and harder to squeeze everybody in. And I do travel up to, well, I guess I can change that. I do travel up to 150-mile radius of Garden City. So if anybody's within that area, then let me know, and we can schedule something. There, of course, is a travel fee if you're outside of Garden City, Holcomb area. But a lot of people have been utilizing it. I made some great progress with one family. It was fantastic. We got some desensitizing done because there was a fight between a large dog and a small dog, which made sense for the age because we want teenager. She didn't know how to show her emotions regarding things. And then so after that, I ended up working with them, and then we desensitized them to each other, but also recreated the bond that those two dogs had. Usually when we're dealing with aggression, I'm trying to make it at least livable with everybody. But of course, the ultimate goal is that we repair the relationships between the dogs and the animals and the people, etc. And I was very happy to get the reports that those dogs were playing again with each other in appropriate ways. And the dog was starting to actually use, the dog was actually starting to use the alternative behaviors. So she was able to basically, honestly, teach a dog to deal with their emotions just like you do a toddler. So is what we ended up doing, and I was super happy. It was very rewarding experience to get the reports back from those clients. So far, everything had worked greatly, very well with them. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, put those into the chat. I'd love to answer them, whether they're pet related, wild animal related, or other. Or if you just want to say hi and let me know you're out there. I've been talking to the Void for quite a bit. We had somebody with a good question at the beginning regarding puppy bites, but otherwise it's been very quiet. I think everyone's watching the storm scanners right now just to make sure nothing gets any worse. Because at last I saw, we were in a tornado watch here in Garden City, or Finney County as a whole. So if you, make sure you're safe, which I might go into training your pets for these types of emergencies, basically getting them into the basement, having them, don't forget the animal prep. That's one thing a lot of people forget, is the animal prep that's needed for these types of emergencies as well, not just the humans. Which reminds me, I need to sign up for KSART. I'm a member of the Kansas Animal Rescue Team. I only went through some trainings. Nothing big has happened that since then, so I need to re-up my training. But basically, when a disaster happens, people do bring their pets, and they unfortunately can't have all those pets. Imagine, actually, I've heard one story that happened in Florida where somebody brought their Rottweilers, and then somebody also brought their bunnies, and it didn't go well. So basically, the Kansas Animal Rescue Team goes in and basically makes an emergency when there's a disaster. We make an emergency kind of shelter for the animals, similar to what Red Cross and various other organizations would be doing for the humans, but we would be doing that. And if anybody's curious, that is KSART, Kansas Animal Rescue Team. Great organization to up there for people, because that actually, now that popped into my head, we're having connection issues, might be because of the storm, but now that popped into my head, that actually is a great organization to give to. That is the Kansas State Animal Rescue Team, which now that that's in my head, I'm going to need to 100% remember to re-sign up for that training that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. I've already blocked it off on my schedule, but here's the website for them if you have any curiosity, if you want to help, if you want to donate to them. The information will be there, kssart.org. But basically, it's just a bunch of volunteers. We go in and in a disaster and try to give people peace of mind about their animals while they're dealing with all their other trauma that's happening in a disaster as well. Just one less thing for them to worry about, and one more way to help everybody involved in those situations. So if you have any questions, let me know. Go ahead, put those into the chat, and I'd be, oh, it looks like, all right. Thanks, Isaac. Keeping up the good work. I shall try. Thank you for letting me know you're out there and that people can hear me. It's kind of quiet talking to the internet void, but yeah. So I've been actually getting a lot of very good reports from a lot of my clients. Actually, another thing that's kind of going through, I have so many German Shepherds right now. Do I have any tips on helping with lowering anxiety in a dog during a 4th of July holiday? Yes. Problem is, it's going to take a lot of prep work. So 4th of July is horrible, and I do have a video. If you go to my website at bbbehaviors.com, I do have a video that says it's fireworks. But basically, what I do is I get an association with the clicker or the marker, as we call it. So if you say good or whatever, but have it followed up with something extremely positive. And basically, every time that bad thing happens, you add that positive thing. So bang, treat, bang, treat, bang, treat. You want the treat to follow the scary thing, because the problem that a lot of people have is they'll bring the treat out and then the scary thing happens, and then they bring the treat out and the dog runs away, because what that is called is an antecedent. That if your treat is always leading to the scary thing rather than vice versa, then the treat becomes scary as well. The transfer of the scary goes to the treat. But if you do scary thing, treat, then basically whatever happens last is what is the most important. So you can actually kind of bleed that in. Now, the trick is you have to work your way up to quieter, then louder, then louder, then louder kind of setup, because if you start with the full-blown phobia thing right off the bat, you're going to make it worse. So you have to kind of just slowly go into that, slowly work your way towards the big scary sound. But that's the basics of what I would do when it comes to the 4th of July anxiety issues. It's going to be very tough. And also I tell people, watch out for the aftermath or the aftershocks. And by that, I mean, basically when you're in a high stress moment or high stress event, anybody who's suffered from PTSD could tell you this too. They might have experienced it, or they experienced it and didn't realize it. But basically, there's the event, boom, bad stuff happens, but your mind doesn't fully absorb it. So usually it takes 3 days or even up to like a week or two, and then that's when you have the issue. I have a lot of clients that have like weather anxieties, and they're like, well, they don't do it during the storm, but then we started charting it on a calendar and then marking when storms were. It was almost, and each one's going to be a little different, but I think for that dog it was almost like a 7 day exactly or something like that. So storm happened 7 days later. That's when the behavioral event will happen. So a lot of people after the 4th will call me that their dogs are reacting a week or two later and not associating it with the 4th of July, because they've been stressed that entire time, wondering if those fireworks are going to happen again. So you got to watch out for those scenarios as well. But yeah, basically, honestly, you're going to try to correlate the scary thing with a treat, and also possibly do some desensitizing work where you expose it to them in low grade where they can choose to ignore it kind of scenarios. The thing you don't want to do is force them. You don't want to like grab and hug your animal all the time when that happens. If they come to you, so be it. But let them do whatever they need to do for the most part, as long as it's appropriate and safe. If they need to go underneath a piece of furniture. Sometimes, and a lot of animals, if you can get, there's actually a really great crate too for dogs that have storm and anxieties of that nature. It has noise dampening, but on top of that, it has speakers that create white noise inside. So the dog goes in there, and then they really can't hear. This white noise is breaking up the boom and bangs, and then the noise cancellation as well. So that's a possibility. That's also very expensive, so most people don't go that route. But I would say actually for like 6 months leading up, because it's going to take a while to get them ready for that. I've seen a lot of dogs do gun training for that. So if they don't if they end up with a fear of guns at the beginning, you can do that. Bang, treat, bang, click, treat. Usually followed by the marker in between the loud noise, so that the marker lets them know something good's coming. But I do have a video actually on my website where I discussed the 4th of July issues quite as well. But really, it's you could use the thunder shirts and things like that. I never say no to those, but don't expect them to be miracle workers. I'd say they work maybe 50% of the time, half and half. I've never done the actual numbers on it. I think there are some studies, and they've kind of come out pretty close to about 50-50. I'm not even sure. So you can try the thunder shirts. You can try a lot of the there's a lot of medications you can give leading up to it to help get the edge off as a temporary anxiety medication. Everybody's obsessed with CBD oils. Every study I've seen regarding fear and anxiety with CBD oils in dogs has actually, 2 of the studies, the placebo actually acted better than the CBD oil. CBD oil, really, there's only 2 things that I know of that it's working in, and that is a very specific type of seizure and also a very specific type of arthritis in dogs. Aside from that, most of the other things that they claim are no better than placebos in the studies so far. There might be something else coming up. We'll see. But there are other anxiety meds. I would talk with a vet to get a hold of some stuff that you can't get over the counter if you have a really bad case, in which case you should do desensitizing and medication if it's really bad, and wait for that aftershock mental effect to kick in, because those are very tough to diagnose, because you have to keep good records to start noticing and confirming 100% that that's the correlation. But yeah, that's it. Basically, the simplest thing is scary thing, mark, reward. Scary thing, mark, reward. So they put it's what we call it a non-contingent reinforcer, because really the dog doesn't need to do anything. The reward always just happens. But really what we're doing is we're really just trying to overlap the, because we're not actually reinforcing behavior. We're just trying to desensitize and create a positive aspect with the big scary sound. But start low, go higher and higher and higher, or louder, louder, louder with that. But eventually they will, that usually will work, unless you have a very extreme case, in which case it's still by the science will work eventually, but you might be working, might not be 100% worth it for you. So I hope that answers a little bit there, Isaac. Thanks for the question. We got about 5 more minutes. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Got about 5 minutes to get your question. That makes sense. No problem. No problem. Let me know if you need any more help, Isaac. I'd love to. We can go out, have a beer, and talk more dog behavior stuff. Always all about that. All right. If anybody has any last questions, let me know, and I will be happy to answer those. as I said, I have been very busy these past few months. Actually, I've been breaking all my current records as far as number of clients and things like that in a week. And now we're getting to the point where we're having to schedule further and further out. So get your schedules in. I do travel up to 150 miles, and that is what the kicker is lately. I have been putting miles on my cars because I am just going everywhere. So it seems in Southwest Kansas. Right now, in the past week, I've been to Hugoton, Liberal, Dodge, all of them multiple times with different clients. So Syracuse, I'm just going basically, it's not my full limit. Usually it seems to be about 70 miles out, but I'll go up to 150. I've been down in Oklahoma a number of times for somebody who just needs some help, especially in the positive reinforcement aspect of things. If anybody just wants to say hi, let me know you're out there. Oh, you get the new dog January 2nd. Nice. Or July 2nd. Oh, good Lord. That's not going to be enough time to desensitize. But, hey, maybe while it's happening, you can do it. And then, like, treats. Like, if you can just have an explosion of treats or whatever the dog thinks is great. Oh, wait, no. Or is this the pro dog? This is the working dog, isn't it? Or is this the new dog? You have both, don't you? Now I'm confused. Oh, anyway. That'll be fun. I always enjoy meeting new pups, especially if it's the pro one. Then I think your job one thing coming in that's always fun. Working dog. All right. I myself am joking around because I'm always like, you know what? My next dog is going to be an easy dog. I'm going to just get a nice basic lab or golden retriever, make it a nice demo dog, and then suddenly something challenging shows up, and I'm like, ooh, how about that? So Malinois crosses do entertain me quite a bit. I'll have to talk with you about one that we're thinking about right now, but we'll see what happens. But if anybody has any questions or wants to say hi, go ahead and put that in the chat. We just got a few more minutes. I'll be happy to answer your questions. Oh, that's going to be fun. New one in the works. Working. All right. Seems to be pretty quiet. We have about 2 more minutes. Looks like Isaac's the only one watching right now, but if anybody else has anything they want to say, go right ahead. I'll be happy to answer those questions. Oh, did I get interrupted on Facebook Live? No, wait. No. Okay, it's caught up. Good. It's still going. Never know when the tech gremlins show up and cut you off. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it here, folks. If you have any questions, go ahead. You can, once again, get a hold of me at bbbehaviors.com. You can also call me at 620-805-9429 or at Whit Buckman at bbbehaviors.com. So thanks for joining me tonight, and I hope to see you all again in the future. This is the 4th Wednesday of every night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. I'm just here answering questions for whoever wants to ask them. So, all right. You all have a great rest of your night, and stay safe in the tornado watch.
Every dog is an individual with its own fears and desires. Every family is an individual with their own goals and lifestyles. There's no magic wand solution for basic training, aggression, or anxiety issues. Together, we can come up with a solution that fits your home. I follow the animal behavior analysis model and philosophy. I work with the animal in front of me, not the breed or the species. For example, not all labs are friendly and want to swim, and not all German Shepherds want to guard things. I focus on what the family and the pup are dealing with and what you all need to grow together. Text me, email me, or call me so that we can start working on solutions for you and your family.